The six-time NBA All-Star Jimmy Butler might have been known as a rebel around the league, but with his recent playoffs performance, he is turning into a legend. In this video, let's explore how Jimmy Butler's reputation actually helped him on his journey. Plus, let's debunk some myths and find similarities Jimmy has with some of the greatest players in the game. Make sure to watch till the end and see why Jimmy Butler's killer mentality is making him a true legend. Now, Jimmy Butler has a reputation as a rebel. He was known to coaches and management around the NBA as a teammate that's hard to work with. He has had some trouble back in Chicago, some conflicts in Minnesota, and the latest example was in Philadelphia, which served as the reason for his trade to Miami. The Sixers claim they couldn't control Butler, and Jimmy opened up about it in a podcast with his former teammate, JJ Redick.
A main reason that I didn't go back was because somebody asked, can you control him? Like, can you control Jimmy? If you can control Jimmy, we would think about having him back. You trying to control a grown man? Nah, I'm cool.
Jimmy's reputation of being a cancerous teammate grew in Minnesota and some of his stay in Philadelphia. But the problem was that he had just had a bad rep with coaches, and not with his teammates. He proudly claims that if you go to the locker room and ask those guys, who do you want to play with? Nobody in that locker room would say that Jimmy is a bad teammate.
So when you go around that locker room and you ask those guys, who you want to play with? I'm telling you, nobody in that locker room is gonna say that he's a bad teammate.
The media painted a bad picture, and everyone immediately thought Jimmy was an a-hole, when in fact he was just speaking his mind and not being afraid to stand up and do everything for his team to win. Basically, between him calling out teammates and wanting all the smoke on the court, Jimmy Butler started to be perceived like the bad boy of the NBA. He's the guy who always sits in the back of the classroom, wears a leather jacket, and doesn't follow the rules. If the NBA was that book, The Outsiders, then Jimmy would definitely be a greaser. But let's be real. Every school needs a rebel, and every team needs a Jimmy Butler. On a more serious note though, doesn't it remind you of somebody? Some particular NBA superstars who are in the GOAT conversation? Yes, both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant had a bad rep in that regard. Their number one priority was winning, and they were misunderstood in a lot of similar ways. MJ was considered to be a bully for punching Steve Kerr, and Kobe was frowned upon for trash-talking everybody and fighting Shaq at practice. Just like MJ and Kobe, Jimmy's competitive spirit drove him to make sacrifices and constantly push himself and his teammates to be better, even when they couldn't handle his passion. The relentless desire to win sometimes clashed with coaches and teammates, but in the end, it brought out the best in everyone around them. The turning point for Jimmy Butler came when he joined the Miami Heat. In Miami, he found a team that finally appreciated his hard work and passion for the game. Coach Eric Spoelstra and team leader Pat Riley recognized and admired Jimmy's tenacious spirit. The whole team culture is about winning, and winning now, and that's exactly what Jimmy thrives on. The Heat's no-nonsense attitude and focus on team success allowed Butler's true qualities to shine through. On top of that, it seems as though Jimmy had finally found a team that shares his love for coffee. Because the way they play, you wouldn't be surprised if they all take double espresso shots to the head right before tip-off. Indeed, it didn't take long for Jimmy to become the team's driving force, leading them to an unexpected NBA Finals appearance in the 2020 season. He put up historic numbers, including a 40-point triple-double in Game 3 and a 35-point triple-double in Game 6, making him just the second player after LeBron James to record multiple 30-point triple-doubles in a finals series. They eventually lost those finals to the Lakers, but Butler's incredible playoff performance showcases unyielding dedication to his team and the game, proving that the Rebel label was not only misguided, but also an unfair characterization of his true personality. As Jimmy Bucket stayed with the Heat, he continued to develop and evolve as a player and a leader. With each passing season, he elevated his game and demonstrated an unwavering commitment to helping his team succeed. The Pat Riley hard-nosed culture spread through Eric Spoelstra and the whole franchise to make them a well-oiled, unstoppable force. They all had the same by any means mentality, and Jimmy finally was surrounded by real dogs. With the relentless work ethic of players like Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero, the Miami Heat have become a team to be reckoned with in the Eastern Conference. Looking back, it's clear that Jimmy Butler's perceived rebellious attitude was simply a manifestation of his insatiable desire to win and be the best he could be. The media's portrayal of him as a troublemaker overshadowed the truth that he was a dedicated, hardworking, and passionate individual. Let's face it, the media loves a good villain, but in Jimmy Butler's case, they must have been watching too much Star Wars because they got it wrong. He's not a Sith Lord, he's just a passionate basketball player who will do whatever it takes to win. Yes, sometimes Jimmy's attitude pops back up, but the culture prevails, and winning as a team remains the focus. Take the altercation Butler had with Udonis Haslem on the bench. They exchanged heated words, but in the next games, both were seen laughing and hugging it out. Their teammate Bam Adebayo confirmed that UD and Jimmy were cool in less than a day, and Bam perfectly explained it. In their locker room, they embraced the dog mentality. They embrace being vocal and competitive, but at the end of the day, they're all brothers and they're all working towards one goal, and that's winning.
I mean, because of the foundation that we built as brothers, it doesn't last more than a day, and it shouldn't. You know, especially in our locker room, because we embrace dudes being themselves and being vocal and, you know, bring that dog mentality every night. It can boil over. But it doesn't last because don't notice take it personal, because at the end of the day, the main goal is to win.
The incident accurately encapsulates Jimmy Butler's transformation into an NBA legend. It demonstrates how his fire and passion have been harnessed to fuel team success rather than cause internal turmoil. His journey serves as a reminder that with the right mindset and environment, even the most misunderstood rebels can become legends. You know what they say, there's no I in team, but there is an I in Jimmy. Luckily for the Heat, Jimmy Butler knows when to put the team first and channel his inner fire for the greater good. Think about it. It's like putting a plant in perfect soil to grow. So when playoffs come around, when stakes are raised the highest and there is no playing nice, Jimmy is ready. His dog mentality mixed with Heat culture creates the perfect environment for Jimmy to thrive when it matters most. Year after year, being a monster in the postseason, earning the nickname Playoff Jimmy. And this year, Jimmy proves he's earned his nickname. His Michael Jordan-like killer mentality got activated yet again as he dropped 56 points in Game 4 versus the Bucks, tying the fourth highest playoff scoring effort in NBA history. Playoff Jimmy added 42 points in Game 5 as the Heat staged a second straight stunning fourth quarter rally before winning 128-126 in OT and knocking the Bucks out of the playoffs. With this win, the Heat became just the 6th, 8th seeded team in NBA playoffs history to upset a number 1 seeded team. And that's just in 5 games, with one of the Heat's leaders, Tyler Hero, not even playing due to an injury. This upset may be the greatest since like 29 years ago when the 8th-seeded Denver Nuggets shocked the world by defeating the Seattle Supersonics in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The famous moment of Dikembe Mutombo holding the ball after the win is still considered a classic. But interestingly enough, Jimmy is staying humble about his legendary playoff performances. He even denies his Playoff Jimmy nickname. He says he just be hoopin'.
You've denied it before, but is Playoff Jimmy a thing? Are you ready to?
It's not a thing. It's not.
I'll just be hooping.
But there is no doubt that Jimmy Butler is a true leader for the Miami Heat, both on and off the court, especially come playoff time. His unwavering determination and desire to win have inspired his teammates to rise to the occasion and put forth their best efforts. Together, they have formed a cohesive and formidable unit that is not easily shaken by adversity or setbacks. The future is bright for the Miami Heat, and much of that can be attributed to the presence and influence of their star player, Jimmy Butler. Success is never assured in the NBA, but one thing is certain with Jimmy Butler leading the charge. Any team will always be in the fight for victory. Yes, he's a rebel, but his relentless spirit and deep-rooted passion for the game propel his teammates to strive for excellence and never settle for mediocrity. And he's humble enough to deny his playoff legend status. All right, Jimmy, just keep on hooping.